Hi, this is Elaine Benfield, and welcome to another episode of Herstories. I am so excited. I have Dr. Lulu with me on this episode. Welcome to Her Stories.
Thank you so much, the beautiful Elaine. I appreciate it. I'm glad that we're finally getting around to doing this.
Exactly. And next time in person, you're now in Atlanta, which I'm happy you're in my neck of the woods. So,
Yes, yes.
with when I start Her Stories, I always talk about why someone's inspiring. And we ended up connecting through a group. And the minute I heard who you were, I just, first of all, your energy, your smile, you are infectious. I just, in such a positive way, you were someone that I wanted to get to know better. When I heard you were moving to Atlanta, it just made me, so happy. So I want to give a little bit of an overview of why I find you so remarkable. And this list could go on, but I'll give my high level of you're queer, you're Nigerian-born, pediatrician, educator, coach, corporate consultant. You're CEO of Dr. Lulu's Coaching Consulting Lounge. You're a mother of three, two sons, and a transgender young adult. You work to educate families, healthcare providers, and non-medical organizations on accepting, affirming, and supporting LGBTQ plus children, patients, and employees. You're a corporate consultant, which I love helping. We've talked about this, helping organizations create safe spaces for kids at the workplace, and support parents, and you're also an author about your Black transgender child, and you have other books and everything. I mean, you're just, what you have in your list of who you are is truly remarkable. I couldn't be more thankful, as I've told you before, that you're in my universe. Once you're in my universe, I don't let you go. So just morning, Dr. Lulu. But I wanted
That's
to
a
lead
good one.
into just, that's such an overview, but can you just, let's start by who's Dr. Lulu? Let everyone know who you are and some of your background.
Thank you so much for that intro. I think everybody has a long list. I just remember to add everything to it. I think one of the ones that you left out maybe could be I'm an agitator. I love that title. I attended an event in June last year in Dallas, Texas, and the speaker was making a case for entrepreneurs and corporate, I don't know, consultants moving away from the term activist. He preferred the word
Mhm.
advocate. And I pushed back. I said, when it comes to identity, it's an individual thing, whether it's gender identity, whether it's title identity. And I don't want anyone to, I don't want to use the word shame because that's a negative term, but
Yeah.
lessen in any way an identity that I have chosen for myself. I
Yeah.
see myself as an activist. I've always been an activist. I'm the first of
Mhm.
six kids. I'm the first granddaughter of, I don't know, close to 40, maybe more grandchildren of my grandfather. I was in the US Air Force. I was commander. I'm a disabled veteran. I'm a mom of a transgender child. I'm Black. I'm immigrant. I'm queer. I'm a woman. I am alive. I am activist. I'm an activist. My life is activism. When you
Mhm.
define Black woman in America, look it up in a dictionary. Next to my picture, you will see activist. And I
I
think
love that, Dr.
activism is
Lulu.
what we're all called to. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
all called to be activists. Now, not to diminish advocate, because I am also an LGBTQ plus advocate, but I'm a youth suicide prevention activist. And I
Yeah.
think it's the next level when you go activism. It's like it comes from your belly. Again, not to diminish advocate. And I think when you add activism plus advocacy, it equals allyship. So
Yeah.
I'm an ally. I'm a parent ally. I'm a mama beast. I'm a robo babe. I'm a
Yeah.
fox. I mean, it's just what I am. And I'm the only one that can say that. I was born, bred, buttered, and slightly burned in Nigeria, one of the most religious and one of the most homophobic countries in the world.
Yeah.
That says a lot when you're telling your father at 16 that you like girls and boys, and they're telling you it's a phase. And then 26
Mm.
years later, you're like, your dad, about that phase, you
Yeah.
know? I didn't know that there was a term for bisexual. When I was in high school, I went to an all girls boarding high school.
Mhm.
It was just lesbian that I knew. And then as I got older, I don't even know when the term bisexual came into my orbit, but I was like, that's me. Representation matters. Words matter. And so when I heard bisexual, I saw myself,
Mm-hmm.
not not polyamorous, not polygamous, not non-monogamous, just bisexual, which means I'm attracted. I want to almost say equally to
Mm-hmm.
men and women. Now, there's identity and there's expression.
Mm-hmm.
My sexual expression, the sexuality I prefer, changes depending on how I'm feeling. On
Mm-hmm.
some days, I'm in my male attraction days, and in some
Mm-hmm.
days, I'm in my female attraction days. But I am fiercely monogamous, which means when I'm with Elaine Burnfield, I'm with Elaine Burnfield. I'm not with Elaine and Chaka Zulu and
Yeah.
John Stewart.
Yeah.
I'm not all of that.
Yeah.
That's all I have. That's my introduction.
I mean, there's so much I want to unfold. I just, so, I mean, you're remarkable. So anyone that just heard that, just wait for this conversation, to get deeper. But so talk to me about your path as a child. You talked about growing up in Nigeria. How hard was your childhood? How did the path get to where you are today? And I know it's like a long journey, but how was it? Did you enjoy your childhood? Good memories, like hard memories? What do you remember most about kind of those formative years as a child?
I think it's only fair to say for everyone, your childhood, depending on how much of it you allow, can
Mhm.
dictate your adulthood. Everyone, not just Dr. Lulu, everybody. There are bits of my childhood that I know brought me to this place where I am today. Listen, when I was 11, I wrote a rejoinder, which is like an editorial, to the
Mhm.
Pope. And I gave it to my mother, and she said she mailed it. Now, looking back, I don't think she did. Because what I said was, I wanted to know why women were not allowed to be priests. I was freaking 11.
Yes,
I was
you had it. You
radical. And
had
my
it in
mom
your
was like, okay,
DNA.
I'll take it just yes. My mom said, okay, when you're done writing it, I'll take it. I'll mail it for you. She said, I don't know if the Pope will respond. I was like, just mail it. So that's one. And then number two, my father is a war veteran.
Mm.
That's activism, radical, the highest level when you go to war for your country.
Yeah.
My dad is a war veteran. My grandfather, the one that I knew, because I don't know anyone after my grandfather.
Mhm.
Like I don't know my great grands and all that. But I know my grandfather. I knew him until I was like 13. He was radical. He was the one in my village, the first person to say he was not going to kill his twins. There was this belief that twins were like demonic, and people who have twin children, they have to kill the twins because they bring bad luck.
Mhm.
And so my grandfather thought outside the box and said, wait, if we celebrate the birth of one child and magnify Ikenga and Chuku and Source and the universe, if we celebrate the birth of one child, I think in my little head that we should doubly celebrate two children.
Yeah.
Like, hello. So what he said was, I'm going to put my machete down. And that's a dare to fight to the machete.
Yeah.
That's in those days. He put his
Yeah.
machete on the ground, and the person who dares him picks up the machete, and you fight with the machete. He said, I'm putting my machete down. I want any of you who has enough balls to challenge me to not keep
Unreal.
my twins. That is the blood I have in my vein. It's radical. It doesn't, it takes
But
no
it's
prisoners.
remarkable. Like
What
you and I
I,
have talked.
yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah,
remarkable
but that's,
because you and I.
that's who,
So as a young
go ahead.
woman, you saw that, and mine's such a smaller scale. You and I have talked about. My father was an activist when I grew up on historical buildings, and history was so important. And let's not forget our past. And he just he had that, and I was the same, completely smaller scale. But I saw him fighting. I saw him with picket signs. I saw him just fighting for what he believed in, and it is in my DNA that I've marched. I have, for, every cause when I lived in DC to when I live in Atlanta fighting for all these causes. And you have the same, that I love, because it's more than being an advocate, it's having it in your DNA. And I think some people
It's
don't
having
quite
it in my
have that.
DNA. My
And then
own
you
mother,
evolve to
because
it.
every time I talk about, there's so much patriarchy in Nigeria. So, and then I was raised, I'm a child of patriarchal, beliefs. So I was raised to almost always default to my dad, my grandfather. But my mother was a freaking firefighter during the war. So again, it's not that she may not have been all the way out there, went to war to actually like drop
Yeah.
bombs and fly planes, but she was a firefighter
Yeah.
in the war. I don't have the photograph with me. I wish I did, but I remember there's a picture of her looking so fly with cat glasses in the maybe 66, 67. I think the war started in 66. I ended in 69 before I was
Wow.
born. She was a firefighter, a woman who's a firefighter in the 60s in Nigeria. Oh no,
Yeah.
I come from a line of rogue babes,
Well,
beasts. And
and
that's why,
you use the
I
term
have no
warrior, Dr.
apologies
Lulu.
today.
Like, I love when you use, and you've said a lot on, yeah, we engage a lot on LinkedIn, and you talk about you're a warrior princess. Like, to me, that couldn't define you more, because that is really being a queen, and just all of that is, and that's why I was so attracted to you, to go, your energy. I mean, I said it before. Um, One of the things I wanted to know, you do so many things, you have so much passion. How do you manage it all? Because I feel like that's such a hard thing, that people think it takes so much time to be an activist and help protect the voices of those who need protection. How do you do that, plus all your facets of work and life, and how do you juggle it? You're speaking, traveling, how do you do it all with your kids and all? How do you manage all of it?
Not without spoils of war.
Mhm.
I'm just going to put that out there. No,
Yeah.
I do not do it without spoils of war. And I don't know who's listening and what spoils of war is. You know what? Just look it
Yeah.
up. But
Yeah.
not without spoils of war. Of course, there's always going to be collateral
Yeah.
damage. I mean, I'm human. I got
Yeah.
to go to sleep. I got to eat. I got to mommy my kids.
Yeah.
Depending on what point in my life, when I was in the Air Force, I was commander. I mean,
Mhm.
I wasn't always home. When I was not in the Air Force, I was a single mom with a full practice that I saw 40 to 60 patients a day. I may not have always been home with the kids. So there were things that just I could not do because I was doing other things. And you just have to pray that source or the universe is just watching out for the things you're not able to do at the same time. If I looked back in my life, would I do anything differently? I would probably say no. I know it's like, well, no, I would not do anything differently,
Mhm.
because all of that, as I said at the beginning, brought me to where I am today. It's always one decision after the other, one step in front of the other. And I retired at 52, and everybody's like, wait, what? What do you mean? I said, well, it was 30 years since I've been a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor anymore. I don't know anybody who's been working for 30 years and doesn't think it's okay to retire. I don't know them. And if I know them, more power to them. For me,
Mhm.
I wanted to retire. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Have you made enough money? No, but how much money is enough money?
Yeah.
You
But I love,
define that by yourself.
but I
I
love that,
retired
I
because I needed the more time to do this one. Go ahead.
no, and I think, Dr. Lulu, I think it's so important, because we're hard on ourselves. I think women multitask better than anything. No discredit to men, but we just do. It's our DNA that we have kids, we have jobs, we have this. But I think a lot of women are afraid to say it's hard. People are afraid to say
Of
you
course, it's
make
hard.
choices. And I love the honesty, because
Yes.
people ask me all the time, how have you had this great career in technology for all these years, but your kids, and how do you just do. And there's days where I'm like, I'm not doing anything
Just do it.
well,
Yeah.
and there's some days where it's like, oh, I'm a better mother today, I'm a better employee today, and it's like every day kind of teeters. But I forgive myself. It's took me a long
Yes.
time to go, hey, I wasn't 100% perfect in everything, or I didn't do 100% across the board, but I did it. And there's, and I
I
feel like
did
that
it. Yes. And
giving yourself
that's
excuse.
my,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. That's I know the space is not Igbo, but I am Igbo, so I have to go to my own customs in my Igbo land. When men become chiefs, they get a feather um
Mhm.
for what, like, maybe high achievement that they've achieved. They get a feather. That is a feather in my cap that I did it. I might have did it wrong. I might have
Yeah.
faked it till I made it. I might have did it messy, but I did it. I did it.
Mhm.
And I wanted to tell you two stories. I did it with imposter syndrome. I told Oprah that. I did it with imposter syndrome. I did it doubting myself the entire time. I did it with fear, but I freaking did it. I effing did it. I fucking did it. And I did it because if I don't do it, who will?
Mhm.
Who will?
No,
And I
it's I
tell the story of how God,
yeah.
I used to say, God, please don't, I don't want my child to be gay. Please don't make my child gay. Please don't make my child gay. And God said, whose child do you want me to make gay? Whose child should I make trans? You are the self-proclaimed loudmouth activist, this, that, and the other. Who then should I send? If not you, then who? And then God said, what I'll do is I'll send you. And if you decide to take the mission, great. But I will also send the Elaine Burnfields. I will also
Mhm.
send all the other mama beasts. I'll also send other people to allow you to get on their platform to get your message. But that message you must carry. And that's it. That's all there is.
No, and I love that you and
That's
I
it.
talked about it, that we were both blessed with these children. I couldn't be happier and more
Mm-hmm.
proud of my daughter, Hannah. We've talked about it. She wants to be public, being a trans daughter and trans woman. And I look and go, people are like, how do you cope with having kind of, my ex-husband's gay? How do you cope with this surrounding? And I'm like, it's not coping. I'm blessed with this family that is a rainbow. And it
Yeah.
gives me,
It's just doing.
you just do it. I don't look at my child any
It's
different
just
because the
doing.
name
Yes. It's not
changed.
coping. It's just doing.
No,
Yeah.
it's doing it and loving
People
and
ask me, let me
embracing.
tell you, Elaine, you are a white woman in America. I have people walking up to me and asking me, wait, you're Nigerian? You mean Nigerians are like that?
Do they
Meaning
really?
Nigerians are gay? Yes. You mean Nigerians are gay? You mean Nigerians are trans? I said, you mean you're not? Because I believe everyone is gay. Everyone is hiding something in their closet. It was, I think, I forget her name, the singer that said that. I forget her name right now. But anyway, Megan Thee Stallion, I think, I'm not sure. Whoever said that we are all gay, and I think we're all gay, maybe figurative, or maybe even real, factual. We all have something that we have that identifies us, that the universe has given to us as a gift, like you said, to echo your words. And society is asking us to hide, you know. Society is asking us, well, you bring out this part of you, but don't bring this part of you. You be a woman, but don't be too much of a woman. You be a spokesperson, but don't be too loud. You be pretty, but don't be too sexy. You know, all of those things that I think Barbie said in her movie. For me, as a Black woman, add 200% to that. You know, oh yeah, you're Black, so what are you doing in a white space? What's a white space? What's a Black space? This is a mom space.
Yeah.
That's it.
No,
I'm a mother.
but I,
And moms do
but
what
I
they have
do,
to do for their kids. That's it.
and I do feel that, you know, maybe the older generations, even our generation, we're more forgiving. But I think the younger generation, we've talked about this, that they don't see the blurred lines. That I'm seeing a lot of my kids' friends and my kids, they fall in love with the person. And that to me is so refreshing, that we were so put in boxes. As you said, women were only supposed to be this, and you're only supposed to fall in love with this. And I do think we're seeing that kind of change, that this younger generation is a lot more accepting. I think it's the really older generation
Yes.
that's still like, oh, well, that's not normal. It's like, well, what is normal? None of us are normal.
What is
We're all
normal?
unique, you
Who
know?
said that exactly? Who? Who
Yes.
made the definition of what normal is? Yeah, I agree with you.
So,
I
how do you
definitely agree
feel
with you.
about you and I have talked about also, I've told you, I've marched here in Atlanta to help protect LGBTQ plus laws, regulations, healthcare, and that's just a piece of our fight. How do you feel? How are you feeling right now with the polarization in our country, kind of on the political side? Do you feel that we're going to get better over time? Like, how do you think our country's going to snap back and go, wait a second, you're hurting our children? Where do you feel? Because this is the stuff that keeps me up at night. I'm struggling with protecting all kids, trans kids, all children need a voice. How are you feeling about it?
Honestly, I avoid politics if I can.
Mhm.
And that's kind of weird coming from a former lieutenant colonel and commander in the US Air Force. But I do avoid politics if I can. That's one. Number two, I couldn't care less about where the country is going
Mhm. I love
because your child who is transgender, your child who is LGBT, doesn't know that. But your child
that.
knows you. Your child knows where you're going based on how you're leading them. And so I will say these things will come and go. They will ebb and flow. I don't want, yes, I'm a speaker. I'm going to be at the state capitol on the 27th. I've been invited by the Human Rights Campaign and the Pride, Atlanta Pride, to be part of the happenings. Is that the word? So, yes, I'm going to go there and speak. But ultimately, I tell parents, I say, you're not only the most important, you're also the most influential person in your child's
Mhm.
life. So, what you think and what you do
Mhm.
and what you say matters most, more than what the governor says. When a
I
4-year-old child
love
says,
that.
Mom, I don't want to wear that dress, they're
Mhm.
not saying, Mom, I don't want the governor to dress me up in blue jeans. They're saying, Mom, Dad, I don't want to
Mhm.
wear that dress because I don't feel like I want to wear the dress. And
Mhm.
you, the next thing you say determines how the day goes,
Mhm.
not what the governor said at the mansion. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
I think it's so beautiful and it's so true. I mean, we talked about when Hannah came out for me, I just looked at her and she said, I have a friend that's, decided or basically came to the realization that she was in the wrong body. And so I told you, my first instinct was, do you feel you're in the wrong body? And she looked at me with these blue eyes and said, yes. And I didn't flinch.
Oh.
And we talked about it. Yes, there was a journey. I struggled with the
And I'm still
pronouns.
so
I
proud of you
struggled.
for that.
But that's because to me, I'm a
Yeah.
mama bear. I love the term. It's something when I was on your Moms for Trans Kids streaming on
Podcast.
LinkedIn, I was like, it is so all seeing all these fierce moms that are like, we're gonna shield and protect our kids and love them and let them become great humans. And that to me is the bigger picture. Um, I struggle with that people want to get in our business because who's to tell me I'm doing something wrong for my child? How dare you? How dare
Exactly.
you? And that's more the
Exactly.
annoyance to me.
Yeah, it's more of exactly, it's more of an irritant, but I'm not going to pretend that that doesn't exist. Are you kidding me? Hello, I just said I'm going to be at the Capitol. Again, I'm going to reiterate that both of us are on the same side of the fence, obviously, but I'm not going to say that I like that they're coming for my kid. I wish I could focus on something else and not this because they're coming for my kid. However, comma, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, your child wants to feel safe at home. Your child's parent is not the governor. Maybe it is in somebody's case,
Mhm.
but the majority of us, our
Mhm.
children are not parented by the governor. The governor might make the law. That's why I said there's something you forgot. I'm an agitator of governors. I'm an activist. That is true. I
Yeah.
agitated the governor of Texas until now I moved to Atlanta and I'm about to begin agitating the governor of Georgia.
I'm going to
So
be
I
right
am an
behind
agitator.
you.
Exactly. I am an
Yeah.
agitator. However, at the end of the day, darling parent, the
Mhm.
person who makes the decision about dinner The person who makes a decision about what the child is wearing, the person who makes a decision about what school the kid is going to, what
Mm-hmm.
extracurricular activities, what car we're driving today
Yeah.
is you. And
Well, and I
so
think you
I need
said
you to
something.
remember that you are a
I
shield.
I love what you
You
said
can
about
shield
like
your child.
well, and I love Dr. Lulu about, our kids need to be safe, but I also think they need to be loved and accepted. Like you have this image, and I'm sure you felt the same, you have 3 kids that I had this image of what I thought my kids would be. They blew that out of
Mhm.
the water within a year of age, like even less than
All
that.
day.
That I was like, oh, this is how my perfect life. And it's like, oh my God,
Yes,
they rattled me from day one. And but
all day.
all day, every day, there's something like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that. But I embrace everyone, every single, whatever they challenge me and however they surprise me, I do find a way. And yes, there's always that reaction of, are you shitting me? Like there's always something, but I love because they're
I
finding their
know.
path, they're finding their journey. And my job is to almost deflect, keep them safe, and every day say how much I love them.
Yes.
They're
Oh yeah,
protected in
I
my
agree.
world, I
All
just
day. All day.
all day.
When you decide to become a parent, you already know it comes with a lot of responsibility. So one of the polarizing things I say is, unfortunately, saying I love you when your child says, Mom, I'm gay is not enough. I'm not
Yeah.
saying don't say I love you. I'm saying that's not the response, because you're supposed to love your kid anyway. And I want to say that with my full chest. You don't get extra brownie points for saying I love you when you're already supposed to love your kid anyway. Like
Yeah.
your kid didn't have to tell you anything for you to say I love you. So I want to put that out there. However, the question is, what then do I say? Great question. Great question. You take a deep breath and say, tell me more. And
Yes.
say, wow, that's intriguing. And say, wow, how long have you known? And say, wow, thank you for telling me. And say, wow, I'm so glad you found me a safe place, a safe person to tell. Oh my goodness, wow, how come I didn't know this? To yourself, you can say that, because I was told at 20. That's old. It's very old to find out. And that's because I did not make the house safe for my child. It
Mm.
doesn't mean I didn't love my child. You see the difference? It doesn't mean I
Yeah.
didn't love my child. In my mind, my way of loving my child was asking them not to be gay. So again,
Yeah.
it's not about love here, because love comes as part of the package of having a child, as part of the package of being a parent. But having a child who is gender diverse, enter advocacy, enter
Mhm.
allyship, and I dare to say enter activism. Because now it's like, oh, you're coming for my baby? Well, enter Mama Bear. And in my case, enter Mama Beast.
Yeah.
Because, oh, really? Right away, you activate all the things, right? Because they're coming for your
All,
kid. And might
all
I add, they're coming for you.
no,
They're
no,
saying you're
it's
a groomer. They're coming for you.
and I think that's a beautiful way that it is a distinction because you love your kids unconditionally, no matter what you do.
Yes,
But I agree about the safe piece. And I love what you said about listen, because, we've had friends in our community that didn't listen when their children said, this is what I am, this is who I am. And some embraced it, and those kids are thriving. Those who didn't, those kids are struggling. Some kids committed suicide. Like, this is, if you don't
I
listen
know,
and find a safe
exactly, right? I didn't
environment,
want to say that. I didn't want to go
but,
there. But
but,
that's
but it
why
is,
I'm a youth
it's
suicide
reality.
prevention activist. Yes.
It's the fear of, and we
Thank you
talked
for
about,
saying that. I didn't want to say that, but thank you for saying
but I think it has to be, I want to be that firm. And I've said this when I interviewed Hannah, suicide rates of children that are trans and children of LGBTQ plus are so high, they don't need to be. And
that.
I feel
Right.
that if we had more parents like us that we're going to make missteps,
Thank
I'm making
you.
mistakes, but I refuse to let something happen from my child because I wasn't, supportive and I wasn't there to listen and open door
Exactly.
policy. I have my door open. We've probably talked about this. I've my bedroom, always open door. I've always felt you can come to me at 2 a.m. if you need me. You can come to me at midnight.
I wish I
My
was that.
door, no matter what, is open for you. And I can't tell you how many times my children climb into my bed 10 p.m. on, which I'm a morning person, but that's an open door so that, hey, I had this fear. I thought about this. My friend's struggling. How can we help my friend? That's been my life as a
Mm,
mom over the last, as the kids get older. And that to me, I might save a life by having my kid feel comfortable, like, oh, can you talk to my friend's kid? Can you mention something to my friend's parent? And you're so similar, if not even more, to be that, voice to help others. And
yes.
I love the things you do. What would you, I mean, I think we talked so much about like creating this safe environment. How do you,
Mhm.
talk to me more about with your coaching and helping organizations really create these safe environments? Talk to me a little bit more about how you're helping the community and other companies and businesses.
Thank you, because most times I don't get to talk about that. So I have about 3 organizations now as my clients, and what I do with them is I go into the space and I first see what you have, because I'm not a savior. I'm not coming to save anybody. I'm coming to add value. I'm coming to magnify what you already have. I'm coming to just make it that much stronger. So we start with what you already have. Most organizations have the word inclusive on their website. But Southwest, for instance, which is not yet my client, but Southwest, because I fly Southwest all the time, has inclusive on their website. But guess what? They only have male, female options for gender up till today. Meanwhile, I've addressed it with them in the past. So just subtle things like that. You may not even be thinking about it. Just put other, even start with other. That lets me know, okay, you're thinking that there are others, right? As an example. So that's one of the things. But mostly I work with their parent ERG, or the ERG, which is Employee Resource Groups, or the PRISM groups, or they have different names for them,
Mhm.
Pride groups or whatever, any kind of group. I do work with the Amazon is like in my radar right now, but I do work with Amazon has something called Glamazon, GLA, Amazon,
Mhm.
Glamazon, which is like their gay, lesbian, something.
Mhm.
That's what the Glamazon is. But so they already have something already situated, and I come and I look at it and I say, okay, so what do you think you're needing? Oh, well, we need someone to teach us about like the terminology. That's a big one. That's a huge one. And then to tell us what to do when our kids come out. That is usually those two things.
Mhm.
The terms change like the freaking weather, right? Every day there's a new term.
Yeah.
I don't even know all the terms. I don't even pretend to know. There's a book called the ABC, I think, of LGBT, something like that. I think there's a book like that by someone been out for a while. That book, they have to like update it every day, I'm sure, because every day there's a new term. There's also a book called the Gender Book, which are my friends. I'm going to tell them that I give them a shout out on here. They just released their 2.0 because things change every day, right? My book about your black transgender, I haven't even released it yet because things are changing every day because I haven't sat down. But now that I'm retired and I've moved here, that's the
Mhm.
plan this first quarter to finish it because it's pretty much done. I just haven't trimmed the edges and made it pretty enough for
Mhm.
publishing. But little things like that. So I come in and I find out what they already have and then ask them what do they need, because
Yeah.
I cannot just come and be preaching all the way to the right when what they're needing is to the left. So it's very, very custom built. It's my Ally Bridge Connection program, ABC, Ally Bridge Connection. So I'm
Mhm.
connecting the organizations to the community. I'm connecting the parents, the organizations to the parents in the organization. Because again, it's it's fair game. Any parent can be a parent of a transgender child. Just because your child hasn't told you doesn't mean they're not, which happened to me. My kid was freaking 20 before I found out. So when they were 19, I could have said, my child is not trans, right? Because I
Yeah.
didn't know. But guess what? By the 20th birthday, I found out. So my job is to do what we're doing right now. What do
Yeah.
you know? What are your thoughts about the queer community? What do you think already? Where did that thought come from? Where did that knowledge come from? Are you trans? If you're not trans, then truly you don't know for sure, right? You have
Yeah.
to, the only person that knows what it's like to be trans is a transgender person. You and I are trans adjacent, right? We're close
Yeah.
enough, but we're not trans.
Yeah.
So I just come and I mostly do workshops. I do lunch and learns. I have one coming up, I think in a couple of weeks here
Mhm.
in Atlanta with the Rotary Club of somewhere or the other.
Mhm.
We're doing a lunch and learn. I'm going to be doing an event next week on the 17th, right here at the Scott Something College. Education, education, education. That's my strong point, speaking, educating. And I always offer them, I said, I have this practice that I'm so excited about. It's called Dr.Lulu's Pride
Mhm.
Corner. And I'm really, really excited about having parents join. It's really a family focused, gender
Mhm.
and sexuality affirming space. I had to add sexuality because I was like, you know what? It's all the LGBT plus people. So it's gender and sexuality affirming space. Dr. Lulu's Pride Corner is open to everyone because there are no borders, there are no boundaries, it's virtual. But if you live in Atlanta and you want to meet in person, super. I will actually meet you where you want to be met. Like, this is the kind of practice I want. If you want to meet at the Starbucks, we'll go to the Starbucks. If you want to meet in your apartment, I'll come as long as it's safe, right? I don't know what I don't know. But I'm so proud of myself for listening to my youngest who actually gave me the idea. He said, Mom, you do know I went from a big brother to big sister, right? I said, yes. He said, well, you never talk about that. You never
Yeah.
talk about this. In essence, he was saying you never talk about the siblings' journey. And I was
Yeah.
like, you're right. And then there's a grandparent's journey. So it's a family affair. So
Mhm.
when a child is transitioning, the entire family is transitioning, the entire community is
Yeah.
transitioning, right? So I'm just excited about what lies ahead. I don't know how
It's
I'm going to get
incredible,
there, but I just,
but you know you're going to get
I'm
there,
just
and
super
you will
excited.
get there. I have beyond faith in
Amen.
you.
Amen.
But I love what you talked about. I work for a huge technology company who does preach
And I want to
equality.
come in there. We talked about that. I
Oh, we
said, I
talked
want
about
you
it.
to
Oh,
please get me
100%,
in there.
100%. But what I love is, this company really preaches what they say. You and I both know there's so many companies out there that says, oh, equality and inclusiveness, and they aren't. And they only do it during the Pride months, which makes my head explode. So here in
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta, it is October, and I'm like, okay, so now all of it, so October, you put your flags on. How about you share that throughout the rest of the year? So I do think what I'm seeing with my peers and the younger generation, children are looking for companies that have that and are really authentic on their approach. I have so many friends that are, in the LGBTQ plus world that are looking for companies that are going to make them feel safe, and
That
that
are
they're going to find
truly,
other people similar to their belief and not feeling kind of out, I want to say almost ostracized. So no, companies, this is for your benefit to be inclusive and truly from your heart and make it
yes.
across your whole organization. We do not go on a Zoom call or a Teams call without putting in, are you she, he, her, whatever we just, and everyone does it. And that, to me, I go on to make sure that I always have that, which is funny because I don't on this. But it is something at
I
work
love
I'm
that.
proud to say. I want my colleagues to tell me if I'm saying your pronoun wrong. I do not. My hardest part, and I'm sure as we talked about the terminology, my kids sometimes come at me. I'm like, I'm doing the best I can. I'm a 51-year-old white
Mhm.
woman who's learning all
It
these
changes.
terms.
It changes
It
every
changes.
day. Yeah. I want to affirm you. I want to affirm you for that. And yes, I know you don't have your pronouns today, but again, sometimes it's
Yeah.
showmanship, right? So we don't
Yes.
want any kind of performance allyship here. So it's normal to forget. It's fine. It's not a big deal because your actions speak louder than your pronouns do, right? So
Yeah.
I love it. It doesn't matter. I didn't even notice it until you said that.
Yeah. I
What
just
I
looked at
what
yours.
I love about
Yeah.
what you said is that yeah,
Yes.
companies are doing their best these days to try to be, and that's so good. And the reason I also am giddy with excitement about what I do is I want to take it to the next level because what a lot of companies are doing is, like you said, inclusion and equality, but really what they should also be doing in addition is equity. Equity means you have the right size of the box you need in order to see over the fence to watch the game. There's that picture that's been going around whenever you're talking about equity. Equity means equality means everybody gets a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Equity means you get the t-shirt that's your size. and the color you like. Equality means everybody gets a bowl of rice. Equity means you get rice with no meat in it because you don't like meat. The other person gets rice with more spice in it because they love spice. The other one gets rice with some beans in it because they like beans. That's equity. So that's what I want people to do. What it is that it's tailor made, and that's why my program doesn't only focus on safe spaces for and brave spaces for queer people. It focuses on safe spaces for parents of queer people because we are the most influential persons in our kids' lives. And for that queer child to grow up to live and thrive and get a job in a company that is inclusive and affirming and all that, they need their parent to first do it right, so that they don't jump off the fence. So we're saying the same thing. So when I first started thinking about it was like, why? But why parents? I said, well, why not? How would you have felt if your dad or mom had been affirming, right?
And it's a safe, and it's interesting. We had a workshop years ago, and it was just the Pride chapters. We led it, and we just had an open dialogue talking about, you might not know your child's gay. They might not have told you yet. Mm-hmm. You might not know if your child's trans. I went there thinking my child at the time was just gay.
Was not.
And within 6 months, I was like, I literally was hosting this event, and I now wanted to reach out to all the parents and go, hey, by the way, my world changed in a wonderful way. But I remember being like, wow, I just sat and I thought I knew my child who's so close with me, but she didn't know at the time. And she had the light bulb moment, which happens many times as they're about to graduate from high school and become an adult. And, she didn't have it she didn't realize as a young child. But I look at that I would love to have you, help support you, here in this Atlanta community. And I know I could talk to you, and I'm so conscious of your time. This is one of many. I would love to have you again.
Yes.
But I want to leave you with what empowers you and what inspires you.
Honestly, that is a question that I saw that and I thought about, and I think it changes for me. I am leaning into the fact that change is constant. It changes for me. On a given day, it may just be the weather. On another day, it might be a song on the radio. On another day, it might be something I heard Elaine Benfield say. What inspires me changes. However, my focus has not changed. But what inspires me changes. My muse is always going to be my child, my eldest child who's transgender. But we're not always in good terms. That's what parents, mothers, and daughters are. I love my mom. My mom loves me, but we're not always in good terms. I love my siblings. They all love me, but we're not always in good terms. I don't want anybody to think that, oh, Dr. Lulu has a perfect relationship with her kids. No, we get at loggerheads all the time because that's what this past weekend we did, because the car got towed and then she was texting at 2 a.m. Well, I was sleeping at 2 a.m. You could have called me. But then I forgot that my phone is on silent after 10 p.m. So I'm just saying that this is real life, y'all. Dr. Lulu I don't have all the answers. She doesn't have all the answers. But I put my best foot forward every day. So every day I look for something else to inspire me. Today I'm going to work at the clinic. Heaven knows I'm going to be inspired by those sick children today because I'm going to get to love on them and hug on them and kiss on them at the urgent care. Tomorrow I'm going to do the same thing. And then Saturday I'm going to a flea market. So, I'm going to get inspired. Maybe I'll see a little butterfly and I'll get inspired. So I definitely think that what inspires me every day changes. What empowers me, though, is my inner child. She is as fierce as I don't know what. She empowers me to speak out because she sometimes was silenced. I was a child of sexual assault, trigger warning, right? So I have been suicidal, trigger warning, right? So those versions of me, they're like, do it, just do it, And that's what empowers. And this is the first time, thank you for asking that question. This is the first time I've heard that. I'm going to write that quote. I have heard that question that way. I'm going to write the answer I just gave you and tag you on LinkedIn based on this interview that we just had, because what inspires me changes, but what empowers me is my inner child, the little girl inside, who I'm just getting to know her now. Because finally, I'm by myself. I'm no longer mommying. doing all the things, cook dinner, all the things. Oh my God, when is your basketball game? Can I come? Can I not come? I don't have those excuses anymore. So I'm having to reckon with her. And she's a fierce. You think I'm fierce?
I
I have nothing with
I
her.
love that so much because it is you couldn't be more right. Because I think our DNA and who we are to the core, we embrace. And that's why we're these fierce mama bear, hardworking, creative, passionate, women. But then every day you're right. Someone, something you meet, something you see does inspire you. I have to tell you, I told you in the beginning, the minute I met you, you're in my universe. I couldn't be happier to get to know you more, spend time with you here in Atlanta, be right behind you, beside you I'd love to partner with you, the HRC stuff, which I'm super active with as well. And just, starting of our many dialogues, I cannot wait to see what you do, how you give back to the community. And you truly are a warrior to me. And I'm an absolute admiration to you and just can't wait to get to know you and see what we do together and what you do. And I couldn't be just more of a fangirl for you. And I know your time's really
Thank you
valuable. I
so much.
love that you were able to be in Herstories. And I think I can't wait to have you
Thank
back again when you're doing your books, and let's keep the dialogue going.
Yes, that'll be good. I'm really looking forward to doing a lot of events in Atlanta. I'm ready. I'm ready. I've been afraid of success, but I think I'm ready. I'm ready to do it. And
And you're
thank
going
you
to
for always
embrace it
loving on me on LinkedIn. Yeah, thank you
always.
for always loving on me on LinkedIn. And if anybody would like to reach me, just send me an email, coach@dr-lulu.com. Just send me an email because I can tell you to find me on social media, which is fine too. LinkedIn, Instagram, that's good. But send me an email. Talk to me from your heart. I just poured my heart out to you. Tell me, what are you struggling with? What would you like to learn? What would you like to know? And I will do my very best to give it to you in my brand new practice that I'm opening, Dr.Lulu's Pride Corner. And I want to do I think a webinar or something. And then just discuss my free PDF, which is 7 mistakes parents make even when they want to support and accept their children. I think something like that. I want people to come and just learn. Just
Yeah.
free,
No, and
just
I'm
learn.
happy to
And then
help.
let me know if you like.
And I'd love to promote it. And I'll make sure on herstories.com, I'm starting to do a community page to share all these wonderful people I've interviewed. And I'll make sure that anyone that's listening to Her Stories, you can find Dr. Lulu on herstories.com. I'll make sure you can, connect with her. And it's been an honor talking to you. I adore you. I look forward to seeing you in person soon in Atlanta. And thanks to everyone for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode of Her Stories.